Black Ops 6 has only been out for a few months and already so much has happened. From 2 great zombies maps at launch, all the way to Season 1 Reloaded with Citadelle Day more. But unfortunately, there has been some negative drama surrounding the game, from some strange AI art that's been sold into bundles and some other products in the shop, to the voice actors inside of our main zombies crew getting replaced by other people. This is a doozy of a podcast episode, so I recommend checking the timestamps below so that you can listen to what you find enjoyable. With that being said, let's dive in, and I'll see you on the other side. First things first, why don't you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your channel, like what you like to do in terms of creating content, what you enjoy in terms of zombies and stuff like that. Yeah. Just give yourself.
I should probably go into the origin of like what made me like do zombies to begin with, and like what kind of content I'm making. Because for those watching and probably listening, I'm not the typical zombies content creator of like, you know, most people in the community. I'm kind of like I'm going for an old school style done by a YouTuber that most people probably have never heard of. And I know we talked as briefly in DMs. My whole YouTube structure is based heavily inspired by the man himself, Raging Amish.
Yeah, I had to look that guy up. I had never heard of him before. What about his style do you find so compelling? Like, what drove you to start to kind of make that type of content?
So back when I've known about this guy since I was since back in like a 5th grade or like 6th grade maybe, or it was like before like Black Ops 2 came out, and he did like Black Ops 1 style weapon reviews for multiplayer. And it was like, okay, and he would always cover like how the guns worked, and then he did zombies at the end where he covered Black Ops 1. He did like stuff on the AUG, like you know, I covered the MP5K, the FAMAS, and I always found his zombie stuff interesting because when I was a kid, I loved playing zombies.
Yeah,
and he did like a weapon series on the wonder weapons in Black Ops 1 zombies, and he was like also the first guy that incorporated movie references into his reviews, and I found that heavily entertaining. Like in his wonder weapon, his second part of his wonder weapons review, he was covering the baby gun from Shang, and he's like, yeah, it's the most awesome way I've seen to fight a zombie yet. And it cuts to Shaun of the Dead when they're beating that one zombie with like all 3 of them are beating him up with a pool cue with the pool sticks. It's like, okay, second most awesome. And it's like, I've always found that style very interesting. And when he did zombie stuff for like Black Ops 2, and then he did stuff for Black Ops 3, but when he abruptly retired around the time of Zetsubo, which I think it was May 2020, May 2016. Holy crap, it's almost been 10 years. I was just like, oh, that sucks. He retired. And then for a while, like zombies content. And again, I liked, you know, guys like the Smith Plays were watching it, but like there was always a missing void that was kind of that hasn't been fulfilled. And just like in the words of Thanos in the Age of Ultron post-credit scene, I was like, fine, I'm going to do it myself. And I think it was like around the time of Vanguard, I was like, I had a script for my Score Streaks review. And I was like, all right, let me like do like a whole Score Streak style, like do a video where I review all Score Streaks into one. But then that was a little bit too much for me. So I started to review the Score Streaks one by one. And that's how I started making videos on my channel. And a lot of my videos on my channel is literally just bites. Like when I say bite size, it's like less than 10-minute long reviews where I just cover each of the Score Streaks. There's no filler involved. And it's just, you know, I get right to the point and very entertaining. I incorporate movie references like Raging Amish did. I, you know, had a similar writing style. It's not like, you know, the typical YouTube filler where everything has to be artificially stretched out to 10 minutes long to fill in for ad revenue. I'm not paid by YouTube. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm just doing the content for fun. And I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And now that Black Ops 6 is around the corner, I'm hoping I get some good channel growth.
Yeah, I actually agree with the fact that there's not a lot of content creators that do deep dives into the weapons in terms of zombies. I do think people are starting to do it a little bit more now. Like Donuts does, he gets crazy analytical with it, making spreadsheets and stuff. And honestly, Milo's doing it a little bit now, but not nearly to the level that, you know, Donuts or like yourself is doing, where you're kind of only focusing on one particular weapon. And even content creators like Milo, like he's doing it for like he's not getting into the nitty gritty necessarily. He's just kind of having fun with it, like showing you what the weapon can do and casually talking about it. It is a little bit of a different flavor, but like, do you know who, what's his name? Ace. Oh my gosh. Exclusive Ace. Yeah. Like in multiplayer, there was always Drifter, Exclusive Ace, creators like that who would dive into the nitty gritty of the weapons on the MP side, which makes sense, right? But
yeah, because everyone needs to look up what this weapon can do in multiplayer.
But zombies, it was just like yeah, you just do whatever you want for fun. But now that high rounds are a thing and speed running is more popular, and being efficient with the boss fights and Easter eggs, I do think this is a kind of an important chapter that needs to be carved out in the community for sure.
And they respect it, but a lot of people in the zombies community don't know who Raging Amish is, and like, there are some that do, but like no one knows like the approach I'm going for. When I do weapon reviews, it's almost like content that they're not really like used to. And you got your donuts and your Milos, but like I'm like one of those guys, like even I'm like not even like over like the age of 30. It's like I know, like I've been watching Raging Amish since I was a kid, so it's like the weapon reviews I'm doing, it's like I'm bringing back an old style that hasn't been seen in like years, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah, YouTube's changed quite a bit. I work I work with YouTubers all the time to help channel growth and stuff like that. So it's definitely changed quite a bit. So I know that there can be some interest in like older school techniques, and like authenticity is definitely coming back compared to the hyper like during 2014 to like 2000, even like right kind of during COVID, like maybe it was, probably for like that 5-year stretch, everything was hyper exaggerated. And now I think there's more of a authenticity element coming back to it. So
yeah, like and you probably have seen with like my thumbnails, you probably scroll my channel, like all the thumbnails are pretty much the exact same except for like the weapon and like the weapon name that's displayed on there, because I like having consistency, and it makes the thumbnails easier for me to read, because it's like, so a newcomer, they'll be like looking on YouTube and like, oh, what's this? A review. And it shows like the name of like, Energy Mine or like in the icons. Like, okay, what's this about? And it's like the title's simple. It's not like super hyper exaggerated where it's like, this is the best gun in Black Ops 6 Zombies. And it's just like, it just shows like the red arrows. Like, I don't go for that approach personally, because it's just like, it's just, and I know technically we get more views, but it's like, gonna stick to the style because it's also simple, and I don't have the energy to, make those style of thumbnails.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, if it's the best gun, I mean, it's the best gun. If it's not, then it's not. Yeah. But that's a conversation for another day. So I do want to veer into the actual BO6, like the state of the game and stuff like that. I towards after we talk about like Citadelle Day more and stuff like that, I would like to talk about like what you would like to see from BO6 eventually, like down the pipeline. But before we get into all that, how are you feeling about the game? Like what's on your mind about it? Are you enjoying playing it? Just how are your overall initial feelings?
I mean, like, I know we'll talk about the voice actor AI discussion like later down the line.
Yeah, that's going to be the last topic of conversation.
One topic that's like so like I'm like, oh boy. But overall, Black Ops 6, I'm really enjoying it. I really love the game. Most smooth launch in since Black Ops 1 Zombies. Yeah, everybody loves it. Gameplay's great, and the maps are fantastic.
It's pretty wild how, like, compared to things like BO3 or to, well, I actually don't remember the BO3 launch quite as well, because I was playing, I was doing some other stuff at the time. But the point is, I remember the discourse around it. I remember people were really upset with the dichotomy between Shadows and the Giant. But was the stability of BO3, was that a problem at all? Like, technically,
it wasn't. The stability of BO3 like wasn't an issue. It was more so the fact that the super sprinters can spawn as early as round 4. Gobblegums, like the Gobblegum machine can move, so it's just like, you have to go find out where it is. There was no indicator of knowing that. The zombies can, like, if Dead Man's Crouch was like, if a zombie hit you while you're crouched, you can't move or run. The zombies will hit crazy fast. Still do. The Wunderwaffe, DG2, and the Giant just sometimes does not work if you have dead wire equipped on a gun.
Interesting.
And the Margwas were a disaster on launch. Like they were like hard to kill. Like they didn't, like, their heads would only open up one at a time, not like all at a time. It was like basically like all the bugs that got fixed by Horizon Drax still made Black Ops 2 unplayable at launch. And it makes me wonder how people, and again, I know people love BO3. I don't get how, like, people can be like, yeah, Black Ops 3 was a flawless game, and it's like, you sure about that? Like, do you guys not remember the Zetsubo launch when people were falling through the maps?
Yeah, I definitely remember hearing stuff about that. I wasn't super involved in the community at the time, but I just remember obviously the Black Ops 4 launch, which I personally love Black Ops 4, but but that's still like, I can still recognize like, that launch was atrocious. But with BO6, I mean, I don't know if it was the extra year of development. I don't know quite. I really don't know. It could be. I mean, because if you think about it, though, think about. I mean, I've heard from other people that Black Ops 3 was hardcore developed in about 9 months. I've heard Black Ops 4, they had to scrap the campaign and focus on pivot to Blackout. Like, there's just so many things that can happen unexpectedly. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to think that 4 years helped with that extra year of development for sure, or with that development. But I mean, we just don't know. But for whatever reason, this game has done pretty well in terms of its technical state.
Yeah.
On
dedicated servers, mind you, that's like also impressive.
Yeah, but what's more impressive is what I think is the amount of content that they've delivered from just from it being at launch. But from a zombie standpoint, I've been pretty satisfied with the way they've kind of been trickling things out. So I was just curious if you felt the same way.
I agree. Like on the side, like I guess like all three maps, like with including Citadelle to Morts, like they all have like lots of good side content, like and a lot of it's like good side content that's like replayable. Like a lot of the side content in Cold War, excluding I guess like the Mr. Peaks Easter eggs on all the maps. A lot of the side Easter eggs in Cold War were terrible. Like nothing mattered.
Yeah, they were all useless in my opinion.
And people are like, oh, the Perkaholic Easter egg on Cold War. It's like, no, you could just get that because Cold War's difficulty was easy as is, and in this game, it's like since it's actually difficult and there's side content that's worth going for, like the bowling Easter egg, the treasure chest Easter egg on Terminus that can get you that permanent double points.
Yeah, that's a cool Easter egg.
Yeah, you pair it up with double points, it gives you quadruple points.
I had heard stuff like that, but I thought they patched it.
Oh, I'll have to check it out again, but I was trying. It was pretty hilarious.
I can't quite remember, but I know that there was something happening that where if you would turn the talisman on and off and on and off and on and off, it would stack the double points with more double points, and then you could use double points in game or something. It was something crazy where people were getting like quadruple. Quintuple, not quintuple, octuple or what, I don't know what you want to, not upple, because that's
8 times.
8 times. A lot of fucking points is basically what I'm trying to say.
Money.
People were getting a lot of money.
That's it. Yeah, okay, yeah. I didn't know about that part. I just knew about the quadruple points, and that was it.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. I'm glad you brought up the side Easter egg stuff, because in Cold War, I don't hate Cold War by any means, and I know a lot of people think that I do. I'm harder on it than other games, but mostly because I think the systemic changes that it made were not fully realized like they are in Black Ops 6. But with the side content, it was not. It was just not useful. So I think I generally think of Firebase Z when it comes to this, which is there was that one Easter egg you could do that would get you like a free perk. Something in the safe. There's like some safe upstairs, and you could get a free perk out of that. Exactly. And I was just like, this isn't really useful to me because it's just one perk. And like you said, the game is super easy. I'm going to get there eventually. It's just a matter of time. But with Black Ops 6, the point system makes you work extra hard. So you have to kind of scrounge for points to decide which route you want to go. Do you want to upgrade your sword? Do you want to get a perk? Like whatever you want to do, or upgrade your weapon, not your sword, excuse me.
Yeah.
And so side Easter eggs can actually help alleviate the pressure. I don't feel like they're game breaking, like in something like Black Ops 3 or Black Ops 4, where it pushes you past the bounds, but it does. They do feel like they help alleviate the pressure that the game puts on the player. Yeah.
Well, and for understanding everyone, I'm a big Cold War guy, but I had a friend of mine point out to me how Cold War, like when, like after like you know about the health cap changes that Cold War went through?
I'm not sure specifically, but you can.
But do you remember it was around the time Outbreak Main Quest 1 was coming out that Treyarch upped the health cap in Cold War from 30k to 120,000. And it made high rounds almost unplayable. And supposedly they did this so they can bring back Double Tap 2.0 into the game, because if you're in the early leaks for Cold War, like in the Wonder Fizz, you heard the Dark Ether jingle for Double Tap.
Sure.
And for whatever reason, they didn't bring in double tap into Outbreak when they implemented in this change. So this change was met with universal disdain. So they reduced it to 60k like for the health cap to balance everything, and they bring in death perception. But as a result, all the guns had like really scuffed damage balances. The rarity damage output was like super scuffed, so where it's like a green or blue weapon could carry you into like the early 20s, which is really stupid. And Cold War just became an easy cakewalk. Like all score streaks are stupid overpowered, and it's like it literally made Cold War an easy game. And again, if you like Cold War, it's fine, but like you got to recognize the game is heavily flawed. Due to all the changes Treyarch did, that was like given how they didn't have that much time, given how they also had to work on Vanguard.
Yeah, of course, yeah. They're not the criticism is not without like sympathy towards the developers having to do all this stuff.
Oh yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, I know this isn't like, I'm not using this as a way to hate on the developers, but it's one of those things where people got to recognize Cold War is a very easy game once you get all the crystals unlocked. And it's like, you go back, it's like nothing's a challenge. It's like you could use any weapon to go into the high rounds, which again, it's not bad if you like high rounds, but holy crap, it's like Cold War is like you can turn off your brain and just fight. But in Black Ops 6, you got to like actually like think, because by the time it's like round 25, you're going to be in trouble, boy.
Yeah, you are. I think Cold War, like if we're talking about the crystals and whatnot, compared to like augments, it's the thing about the Aether crystals really wasn't that the system was bad. I like RPG systems and zombies and Call of Duty in general. I think they're fun, but with the crystals, it was like, okay, well now this is like a permanent unlock tree that I can't turn off. I can't turn it on. There's not really that much variation. It was just like damage boosts, and I don't know. I can't remember all of them, but I know there's like 25% damage boost to a lot of the weapons and stuff like that. And that's great. I like that stuff, but I've been, I'm working on a retrospective on the back end, and like I've been playing on an account with no augment, or not with no crystals. I almost said augments. And the game is actually substantially more, I don't want to say balanced, but it's definitely harder. And it's just crazy how like all that little trickling of being overpowered with your AR, overpowered with your field upgrade, overpowered with this, overpowered with that, it all stacks like really quickly, and before you know it, the power creep has taken over the game.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, you remember how in Cold War, like there was that one mule kick upgrade that was like, oh yeah, zombies can now drop ammo clips for whatever reason, despite the game having ammo boxes scattered around the map, and it made that feature completely pointless.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, same with BO6, I guess.
I mean, at least in BO6, you would get like at least like maybe a third of like of your mag like ammo like reserved like refilled. Because in Cold War, it's like you would get like 300 bullets like from one ammo mag, and it's like, what?
Yeah, that's true. You do get a lot of ammo in Cold War. It basically makes the game have infinite ammo.
Yeah, which and even applied to the wonder weapons. You got a lot of ammo in the wonder weapons, but with how vulture rate was implemented in BO6, like I was like, oh, okay, they did it right. Whew.
Yeah, it's much more balanced. This is in BO6. This actually makes me happy that they have no perk limit or whatever you want to say. I am a fan of perk limits in general, but in the case of BO6, I actually like having vulture rate as an option because it helps take the edge off of stuff, but it doesn't feel super overpowered. It's
I agree.
I made a tweet today about the swords, which I'll get into in a little bit, but the one of the things I said was perks are meant to like they're not meant to make you super OP. They're meant to take you from that being underpowered place where you're struggling, where you're scraping by, and just push you on the other side of being balanced.
Yeah.
Like with Jug, 250 health is a good place. 350 health with the augment is even better. But I'm not super overpowered with 300 health. Like it's just over the edge.
Yeah. You're just passing by, but it's still just like, you're gonna like it's only like, because keep in mind, zombies dealing 90 points of health in the high rounds. Like, yeah, that 300 health is nice, but be ready to just scrape by barely.
Yeah, it goes by fast, and I've even seen people, and not to call this content creator out because I watch his content all the time. He does the high. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name, and I watch his videos all the time. He makes the high round content. sorry, I have to look it up.
That's
But
fine.
he makes oh my goodness, this is going to drive me crazy.
I don't know the creator. I don't know who you're referring to.
Sulky 118. Sulky 118.
Oh,
so he made a comment on Twitter today saying like, oh, BO6 has like a 45 hit down system or whatever, and he's just and he's just like standing there getting beaten by a zombie, and it's funny, but like. The difference that I would say is that these zombies are aggressive as shit. They are beating you all the time. Like if you're trying to run past a horde, you're going to get hit a couple times. If you get cornered, you're going to get hit like 10 times in a second. So all of the damage mitigation, all of the damage inputs and how they balance the system, it's all relative to how the zombies behave towards you. So
yeah, all the people that complain about how like Cold War is too easy, and it's like Black Ops 6 took it personally, and it's like, and whenever you hear people say, oh, like a 43 hit down system with armor, it makes the game too easy. It's like, all right, go for round 50 and then come back to me later. And it's like, they're like, oh. Yeah. Because people forget high rounds are possible.
It's all relative. It's all relative. Yeah. And it's kind of the same with BO3 because it's what, a 2 or 4 hit down system. I don't even remember. But then you have like Widow's Wine. And I was playing earlier today to get some footage for the sword. And I was able to like run past zombies, and the way that zombies kind of spawn towards you, they come from the side and they'll come around you rather than directly to your side. And it's makes it so much more easy because I'm not getting sideswiped all the time like I am in BO6, but I have less health. So it kind of well, maybe not less health, but the balance of zombies attacking you and the way the health works, it's just both of them are favorable in different ways. I just don't think there's a right or wrong here.
Yeah. When you talk about the BO3 3 hit down system, I have a nickname for it. It's called the Mike Tyson punch.
Yeah, fair enough.
You ever seen that video? It was like when Mike, there was that one guy on the plane that was just like taunting Mike Tyson, and then you just see Mike Tyson start like beating him up. That's literally what it's like playing Black Ops 3 Zombies. It's like if you get to a zombie with or without Jug, you are gonna get beaten badly to where you need to run.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that video that you're talking about, but I did watch the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight, and there was a lot of montages of Mike Tyson over the years leading up to that moment, and that dude was a beast. Yeah, let's just put it.
They call him Iron Mike for a reason.
Yeah, the dude was crazy. I can't even imagine getting punched by that guy. It's absolutely scary.
I wouldn't either. It's probably terrible, but Black Ops 3 is like. You were talking about like the hit down system for Black Ops 6. It kind of made me like think like, because I think the hitting system in this game is perfect. It's fine the way it is because I think it's fine. With Black Ops 6, I don't have an issue with anything. I like how like all the zombies hit you. I have no complaints with it. I just hope Treyarch doesn't try and like if they don't undermine it by like adding in a new perk or an old perk that like screws up all the systems. Because so far like we have Vulture, which I gotta be honest, I wasn't expecting to come back at all.
I you know what, let me look at my question list. I'll just ask you. No, I'm going to save it. We'll talk about what you want to see come in the game down the line. But I think this is a good transition into, you haven't played Jingle Hells, have you?
I have not today. I have not, but I'm going to play it as soon as after this.
I haven't either. I was going to try to squeeze a game in before, but I couldn't. I didn't have time because I wanted to talk about it. But I am happy that Treyarch is taking advantage of the holiday season and stuff like that and making the game fun, because I know that like back in the day, Call of Duty used to have like Days of Summer, and they would have like Shamrock and Awe or whatever the hell that event was. And they actually had like seasonal holiday events, and
the summer, it was awesome.
And it was so good. And I genuinely since Black Ops 4, that's been the last time where I've really had a good time with the holiday theme stuff. And I feel like this has been Black Ops 6 has been a really good implementation of events, because we have like holiday bundles, which I know is paid content, but they're pretty good bundles.
It's fun.
Yeah, they're fun. They're cool looking. I'll rock it for the Christmas season. They have like a thing on the Beam Smasher. It's cool. I had it $20.
I love it.
I'm sorry, guys.
I
I bought it. What do you want from me?
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Unsub? Like we're all playing Call of Duty at the end of the day.
I know. And so they have the good holiday stuff. They have Jingle Hells. They redid Nuketown. There's a really fun multiplayer game mode. And then there's all those like small events that you have to unlock stuff at like the community events that we got to unlock some gobblegums and the field upgrades. And they're actually like making it really enjoyable. And I know they were doing this in MW3, but it feels really good to see it in BO6 even taken up a level.
And don't get me wrong, I miss the weekly challenges for from Modern Warfare 3, but like something with the events, like and since the events are global, thank God, it's kind of nice. It's kind of up like getting in like your like your field upgrades and ammo mods from that, because it's like it kind of stinks that you can't really unlock it through weeklies, but it's still nice to have because it's like, all right, there's a way of getting them.
Yeah,
until it's over, but that's a different story.
Well, and like with the Tesla upgrade and the new ammo mod,
Light Rend,
it's fun to do that because it makes me feel like I'm working towards something. And now when I prestige, I don't have to lock it up again. So which I've done already. So I've I unlocked that stuff. I prestige, and I was like, oh yeah, now I have the Tesla coil, or I forget what the hell it's called. Tesla Storm,
or Lightning Links as I call it.
Lightning Links, all the above. It's like nice. I just get to hop in game and play that stuff, and I can casually unlock a healing aura and all that other crap. So I really do like the system. But I mean, I will say those weekly challenges for Modern Warfare 3 were a really good system. I know they allowed you to unlock the aftermarket parts and camos and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but this is good too.
Which can I say, like, if Treyarch is listening to this, please like bring in like the Master Key shotgun or the underbarrel flamethrower as like one of the weekly attachments, because oh my god, I've been waiting for an official Treyarch round-based game so we could like to use the Master Key shotgun and flamethrower. I mean, even though the flamethrower's never been in zombies until MW3, the Master Key shotgun on the AUG from Black Ops 1 was just so awesome.
So wait, for what game? Sorry.
In Black Ops 1 Zombies, the AUG when Pack Punch came with a Master Key shotgun underneath, and it was pretty strong for the first like 30-ish rounds, and then after that kind of dropped off. But it was just like I kind of like having those options, it's just like more ways to kill the undead.
Yeah, no, I agree. I did like those Pack-a-Punch variations in the older games, but wait, did you say the flamethrower?
Yeah, the flamethrower. I mean, the flamethrower, like in the Underbarrel flamethrower, was never in a zombies game. It was supposed to be in Black Ops. It was supposed to be in Black Ops 1 on the AK-47, but that got scrapped, which I don't get why. But since it made its debut in MW3, and it was super overpowered at one point, so we had to nerf it against mega bombs. But I hope that comes back as well, because again, I like more ways to kill the zombies.
No, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the aftermarket part that you could attach onto the weapon or whatever, right? Okay.
Yep.
I was like, there was a flamethrower in World at War. So I was confused for a second.
Yeah.
I will say, why is there no flamethrower score streak in this game?
They're probably going to use it. If it's not in this game, I'll be amazed, but they're probably going to save it for like later down the line. And again, if they do, that's cool. But if they do, just be ready for some Kurt Russell references from the Thing.
I'm fine with it. It's a great movie. I haven't seen it in a long time though.
I actually met John Carpenter at Comic-Con and got a photo of him. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome. All right. Well, let's pivot to Citadelle Day more, and then we'll talk about the after effects of the story with that once we kind of wrap up the gameplay, and then we'll talk about the future of the game and AI and all that good stuff. So Citadelle Day more. How do you feel about it?
So I really love the map, and when I was going into it, I was getting very worried because ever since like Cold War, like a lot, and for the audience, they need to understand something. Every Cold War map like played the same. They were all open. They had some tight corridors, but they were all open enough for everybody to train, so the game wasn't too difficult. And when we had Liberty Falls, which is open, and we had tournaments which was more difficult, I was very worried going into Citadel was just going to play the same like the other maps, and it doesn't. It's amazing. The map's tight enough. Like all the important perks are inside the castle, and the best part is the map is like there's no manglers, and the map plays great.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with anything there. Yeah, that you're absolutely right.
And one of my best, I got to give my friend a shout out. My friend Mikey, he pointed out to me that in a game like Black Ops 1 Zombies, now there's like close quarters maps like Shangri-La and 5, and you got open maps like Ascension, Kino, Moon, and Call of the Dead.
Sure.
You got every Zombies game needs to have a healthy balance of open and tight maps. So when you go back to play the games, you have good options to play them. So it's like, all right, do I want to play the open island map on Terminus, or do I want to go into a little claustrophobic setting on Citadel? And it's there now.
Yeah.
And the swords are really fun to use.
They are. They are. Well, I want to save the swords for the end because I have a lot of thoughts on that, and that'll probably take up a lot of time.
Sure. I'm down.
But I do want to talk about the layout of the map for just a second because I actually 100% agree with you. When I was going into this map, I was thinking, well, they have to keep the map open somewhat because the way that the zombies spawn inside of BO6, they're very how do I want to say
excessive.
This? There's a lot of them, and they surround the absolute crap out of you. So,
yeah,
like if you're in Terminus, I tend to train in the basketball court area, up like upstairs on the island. I just like the.
Oh yeah, my jog. That's a good spot.
Yeah, I like to hang out up there. I think it's fun, and so I'll be like running around, and all of a sudden I'll just look to the right of me and zombies are just everywhere. And I really love that. I think it's a cool feature. Yeah. But in Citadel Day More, I was thinking, when I was seeing the trailer and stuff, like, how is that going to work when the map is this tight? And well, the way it works is they just surround the crap out of you even faster and they kill you. It's awesome. It really is because this map was pretty challenging for me at first. I won't lie.
Yeah. I mean, I got to watch on my first game, we got to like round like 36 and we exfilled, but I think when we were like still playing it, we were kind of exploring around. We were like the inside of the castle, it was literally a death trap. And also another thing, like quick revive and stamina are not the first perks you buy when you leave spawn. You notice that?
What do you mean? Like,
so in every Cold War map in Terminus and Liberty Falls, whenever you leave a spawn room, like whether it be the left side or the right side, stamina up and quick revive are always the first perks you see when you leave right off the bat from spawn. Okay. And in Citadel, it's Deadshot and Speed Cola.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And where Jug, quick revive, and stamina up reside are deep inside the castle or pack punches. And out of all the perks, they're the hardest to get because they're literally in tight quarters, and it's like it makes it all the more rewarding to get it because if you stay in there for too long, you're probably gonna get swarmed.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually really fair. I also think Vulturate is in a really good place too.
Oh yeah, like if they had Vulturate like as one of the first perks, like outside the spawn, that just would have been that would have been fair.
Yeah, it's a really good like layout. It flows really well. I'm gonna say something a bit controversial. When the map came out, I really liked it because I simp for Treyarch. When anything new comes out, I get really excited and I just gush over it. But it wore off really quick for me, and I hated the map for like a week. I was just like sitting in my office playing it, and I was just like, I hate this. Like I was resenting it quite a bit, and I was like, I don't think this is really that good. Now I still have quite a bit of complaints when it comes to the quest and whatnot, but after doing like a high round game the other night, I got to round like 76 or something, and really took my time and just messed with everything, messed with all the swords, was using ray guns, Mustang and Sally, regular weapons. I was just doing everything, did the quest at the same time, didn't do the boss fight, but just did like a majority of the quest. And I was like, you know what? This is a really solid experience. Like, I don't think it's my favorite out of all of BO6's offerings, but I am having I do think it's just a really well dialed in experience, except for some of the issues with the swords.
Yeah, the only real issues I have, there's only one big issue I have with Citadel, and I'm just going to say it. I hate the amalgams on this map.
That's so weird. I like them. I see this all over Twitter. I really like them. What don't you like about them?
I love the amalgams on Terminus because, since it's the first map, I'm like, all right, that's where they reside, and the Beam Smasher was built for killing the amalgams.
Okay.
But and keep in mind, I hate the amalgams on this map for the simple reason that they can just spawn in like naturally from like out of bounds and then they just pop in. I don't like that at all.
So you don't like that they're kind of treated like the regular zombies where they just kind of spawn in.
Yeah, like, in round 16 they just spawn in. It's like I thought, like, all right, they're just gonna have, like, I thought they were gonna make it to like the doppelgast, which again are also a really great enemy. I thought it was gonna be like where it's like a doppelgast would just spawn in somewhere outside of the map and you just see him, and if you don't kill him too fast, it's gonna transform into an amalgam. Like, I thought, okay, they're just gonna spawn in as from doppelgast, but that wasn't the case. And that's like, since there's no beam smasher on this map, it's like they're so like annoying to kill, and then like you'll sometimes have 3 amalgams on the space, and it prompts you to pop a mutant injection like to just slaughter them, and it's like, oh my god, again, I don't hate them on Terminus, but like on this map, it's like, okay, they need to nerf the spawn rates on the amalgams specifically.
I definitely agree. When there's more than one, it's pretty challenging for sure.
Yeah, it just gets ridiculous. It's like, all right, come on, like you don't need 3 of them on the field. It's just not fair.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe it's different with solo. I think I've only seen 2 at a time. Maybe with co-op there's more. But
on co-op there's a lot more.
Yeah, that sounds like it. That sounds kind of rough. But I actually find that I enjoy them more on Citadelle because of the tight corridors in the map. Like with Terminus, I like them in Terminus as well. Like I like this enemy type basically. I just in Terminus, I actually kind of feel like they're out of place now. Like now that I've seen them in Citadelle, I like them more here. I feel like they fit in the I feel like they fit the aura of the map. I feel like they fit the style a lot better. And in Terminus, I was like, you know what? I would rather have something else. But I know, like with the way Nathan, with the story, it just fits. But it's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, again, it's not like I hope they don't. If they come back on the next map, I'm going to be a little bit pissed because it's like then it's just like, all right, they're just the new Manglers. But actually, I actually want to ask you this question. Were you were you fully expecting Manglers to like show up in Citadelle?
I wouldn't have put it past Treyarch if they did, but I was really hoping that they wouldn't. This year I've been really trusting Treyarch to take our feedback seriously and actually listen to the things we want. Like they know they know we're sick of Manglers. I still think that Manglers are going to be in this game. Like obviously they already are, but I figured they would be. But I was just hoping that just like they've been doing, each map is going to have its own POI. Each map, well, for the most part, will have their own enemy type. I kind of look at Liberty Falls and Terminus to kind of be the same, where it's like, this is our launch offering. It's going to have a lot of similar crap, but then from here on out, I'm hoping they're going to evolve. So
because the vibes of like when you play Citadel versus like, I guess like Terminus, it's like a literal night and day difference. Pardon the pun, by the way, because one map takes place at night, and the other one takes place at day. But like
that is true.
It reminds me of like in Black Ops 1. This kind of reminds me of like the Nova Crawlers in 5 and Kino, where not a lot of people like them, and same goes to the Manglers in this map, and both Liberty Falls and Terminus. But I'm having a funny feeling they'll probably find a way to sneak Manglers back into the game, because I was worried they were going to be treated like the Wustlings from World War II. Where like there was a lot of them spawned in, and everyone wanted the spawn rate reduced like crazy, and it also helps that since they spawned in crazy before season 1, and they're already a reused enemy, like it made the hatred for them even more. So it's like, all right, now they're not back, so it's great.
Yeah. I hope. I'm sure they'll come back, but the thing about the reused enemy argument is like when I look back at the past, right, of Call of Duty Zombies, and I think about all the enemies that we've seen, it's like dogs have been all over the place, freaking the Nova Crawlers we've seen time and time again. We've seen Panzers redone, and for some reason when we see Panzers in Origins and then we see Panzers in Drak, it's like that's okay. When we see Panzers inside of Revelations, that's okay. When we see Margwas in Revelations and we see them in Shadows, that's okay. So I want to know what the line is. I do think Manglers have been way too excessively used, but I don't think reusing enemies is bad if they're balanced correctly, maybe given a little bit of a redesign to match the aesthetic. Like there's reasons for it, and I'm okay with that.
Did anyone complain about the Krosny Soldat in Cold War? Like I didn't hear any like hatred towards the Krosny. I think it was just like I feel like with the Panzers and like Drak, like because in Drak they were different. They didn't have the grab attack. They had the stun attack where they would fire out that weird like blue grenade that would stun players.
Yeah, like the
and that's why, like, and
file.
I think that's why people are okay with it. But I just think with like the amalgams, it's like they were cool for Terminus, and I guess for this map, like they're fine. It's just I just don't want to see them anymore because it's like, all right, kind of make because I want all the maps to feel unique as possible.
No, I agree. I 100% agree.
Bring back Treyarch, bring back Catalysts and Blight Fathers for the next map.
I would love stuff like that. The other thing that I really want to see more of is I want to see different mutant injections. Like I don't want to just be of a mangler.
I think they'll probably make that into a separate streak, because if they ever were to like bring back the Krasny Soldat, but they made it into a new score streak where you could play as a Panzer. I can see it happening, but I don't think they'll have it so it'll crossbreed the Mangler, because it's like the Mangler, like the mutant injection has its own role, but it's like if you're playing as a Panzer, I feel like you would have to come with its own suit or whatever. Like, okay, a helicopter's coming in, drops a package off, and it's the Panzer suit. You're like, all right, time to kill zombies. You can jump around.
That's whatever. It doesn't even have to be an injection. Like I don't care what the necessarily the animation is. I just like whatever. I just think it would be sick to be able to turn into whatever the main boss zombie is on the map. So like for Terminus, it's the Amalgam, and for Liberty Falls, it's the Mangler, and for Citadel, we can turn into, I don't know, the Doppelgast or something. I don't know. It would just be cool if there was like themed stuff like that to make it feel like you're in the map, because or like you're actually there, like it's a real fantasy location. Because when I turn into the Mangler, I always go, oh, I forgot Manglers were like in the game. It just does, because it doesn't fit in the map. It's just not aesthetically the same. But it's not a big deal.
I mean, that's probably the reason why Manglers weren't in Citadel, because like thematically speaking, it just would not have fit.
Yeah, but then we're a mutant injection where we can be one.
Yeah.
So are you an Easter egg guy? Like, do you like to do main quests and stuff?
I like doing main. It kind of depends on the quest I'm doing, but like I like doing main quests for the most part if the quest isn't like inherently ridiculous. Like, and the best example I could think of is Black Ops 4 and 9, where it's like, all right, we got to hold a crawler, we got to know where the skulls are. Well, I did the main quest for Citadel, and it's all. I have a bit of a mixed feeling on it, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't like upgrading. I don't like the trope of upgrading all wonder weapons in order to do the main quest. I always kind of found that, I mean, even though swords are stupid easy to get, I never liked that in Easter eggs, where it's just like, all right, you gotta get the 4 staves and like all the melee weapons on Frozen Dawn. I don't know. I've never been a fan of that, and I know like some of the steps where it's like you gotta remember the symbols. I'm just like, I'm not really a big fan of that, but the quest itself is all right. I'd say like 5 or 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't disagree with like the rating necessarily. Maybe I'd give it like a 6 or 7, but I do disagree with you for different reasons. So I and everybody's going to yell at me every time I say this stuff. I actually think the quest is too short. Because if we're going off of the whole like elemental process of like having to upgrade them all, I'm fine with upgrading all 4 of them or not. That's not really that important to me. Because like Drak, you just have to upgrade 1 bow and you can do the entire quest, and it's a great quest. But inside of Citadel de Mor, it's okay. I've upgraded the swords. I do the incantations, which are also very, very easy to get, and I'm not even opposed to them being easy, because the puzzles to do them are fun. But after that, it's just do the
Rings of Power.
Yeah. Yes. Doing the inspection animation, getting the orb, and then doing the elemental orb. I guess the puzzle step for the code, and then that's pretty much it. And then you're done. And so I would really like that to elongate. So, I'm going to talk about this
to make it longer. So there's like more of a so it's like, even if you get the wonder weapons, there's still like a lot to do leading up to the steps, a la Dries and Drak. And I guess Alpha Omega.
Yeah.
I love Alpha Omega.
I do too. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like a lot of the, like, I will say, I do agree. Like if you remove this upgrading the swords and the incantations, it's like the step, like going into the boss fight. Like there's not really that many steps left, but
there's nothing.
It's all enough to artificially inflate it to be like, all right, build it up, and boom, you're in the boss fight.
Yeah, it's basically, saluting the knights and then decoding the thing with which you can write those down, and then shooting from the 4 traps the elementals
Yeah.
orb step. And so the elemental orb step is actually really cool. I actually like that part a lot. But the problem with it isn't that it's not hard or whatever. It's just the fact that each part is not unique. So what they should have done, and again, my opinion, is the light step has its own process where you kind of are standing in those orbs, and then the fire, and then when you do the fire incantation or the fire elemental orb step, it has its own certain challenges. And I know they're kind of specific, where like you have to use an incantation or a sword, or it's like an ultimate ability. Like I know they're slightly different, but that's not enough to make them unique in my mind. I just wish that they each had their own special unique challenge to make you have to power up that elemental orb, and if you failed it, you have to wait till the next round. That could at least create some artificial difficulty if they're not going to add new steps,
like challenging steps to where it's like what to do. It's just an annoying roadblock that you have to like hurdle over to be like, all right, I got it done.
Yeah, because every time I do the light challenge in the Vulture room, that challenge is actually kind of tricky. You have to stand still in those orbs while the energy flies to the orb, and they disappear, and zombies will spawn in there. You can't really see because the light gets in your eyes. Like I think that shit's cool. It's not even that hard, but it's clever, and that makes it fun inherently.
I will say, like, the one thing about this main quest that I do think is a big step up from Terminus, even though it's still not technically my favorite boss fight, is the Guardian is a very challenging boss.
Yeah, I agree with you, but the thing about the Guardian, and this is kind of where my main issue lies with the Easter egg / boss of the whole thing. It's like Citadelle des Morts is a pretty fun map in terms of its gameplay and its challenge and all that stuff, but its Easter egg quest is kind of lacking, and then the boss fight is really cool. So, but that whole middle part that connects the gameplay to the boss fight, which is the main quest, is lacking. So it's like there's this connective tissue that brings it all together that's missing, and the boss fight is like this overall spectacle. But even the boss fight, it doesn't really have that many layers to it. It's just kind of a bullet sponge.
Yeah, it's not like, I mean, I know you. I don't know if you can argue. I saw your review. I don't know how you described Patient 13, but like, do you think Patient 13 is a bullet sponge in comparison to the Guardian, or?
No, because yes and no. It is in the sense that all you have to kind of really do is shoot it to kill it, but it has like those certain areas he'll run and hide. You can kind of go in the water and swim around. Like, I think it's a little bit more fluid in the sense of it being a bullet sponge. He has like, but really the difference between like
different hit points.
Yeah, but they are very similar. Like, it's just you kind of shoot the hot spot and it lowers his damage, and then he'll hide. Where in this case, the Guardian, you shoot his hot spot and then he'll take a pause. But the main difference is the level of aggression. Is the Guardian is just all up in your face, constantly slamming you down. But I just wish they would have created some sort of like, you have to. I don't even know. I'm not a game dev, so like I don't design boss fights. But like if you think about like Attack of the Radioactive Thing or something, there's like stuff happening in the arena that changes. You have to like slide through the lasers, or defusing the bomb, or shooting the Krogs from the sky. Like some of that stuff kind of happens in the Guardian fight, where the lava kind of pulls into the middle of the arena, which makes it tighter. But it's not enough for me to be like, wow, this was an amazing boss fight. Yeah. It has a lot of there's a lot of artificial things with the graphics and the set pieces that make it seem cooler than it is, which I still think it's fun. I just don't think it's the end all be all.
Yeah, it's not like the top 5 best bosses of all time, because I love Patient. I think Patient 13 is a top 5 boss because it's like in a third phase he does close off the arena, and it's like with his 2 tentacles, it's like where you can't train around the entire loop.
And you'd have to swim to get to the other side if you want to.
which isn't even worth it because it's like just kind of behind him, and it's like you have to
You can't hit him.
kill him in the front where his weak points are. And since Amalgam spawned in, it's like and the funny thing is Amalgams aren't even threatening in that boss. It's like, all right, the zombies are there to smoke you out of the hiding spots, and it's like, and the boss is the actual threat, and the Guardian is too. But there's a reason why, like, if the zombies are more threatening than the boss, you kind of screwed up.
I actually agree with you. I think Patient 13 is better than the Guardian, but I think the spectacle of the Guardian is better.
Oh yeah,
and there's some stuff. There's some stuff inside of the Guardian fight that really made me realize that what a missed opportunity Treyarch had with the Easter egg, where like you're fighting the Guardian and there's like these, like when he pauses and he recharges or whatever the hell he's doing, you know, the owl is talking to you, like he's talking to his sons, and like, why didn't that shit happen during the quest? Like how we're talking with Richtofen, I don't even know who the other voice is on Dreisendrach, forgive me. But like when we hear that voice, Dr. Groff, where we're hearing him talk over the loudspeaker in Dreisendrach, like why wasn't the owl talking to us, you know, during spiritually during the quest? That would have been so sick. And we're hearing Kraft speak about it, and Ravenov is like, what the hell's going on? And, you know, Weaver's like, you know, just saying fuck the whole time, or because that's all his only line.
No. Weaver is realistically saying, I blame Richtofen.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. This is all goddamn Richtofen's fault. Yeah, pretty much.
Man, I ran out of shampoo. I blame Richtofen.
Yeah. That's pretty accurate. You're not wrong. So I just feel like it was a missed opportunity there, but
yeah,
because you go from Easter egg and then you're just kind of like in the boss fight. There's no lead up inside of. And I talk about this in my reviews, in both Terminus and Liberty Falls, the Easter egg quest they have really nice gradual steps. Terminus is a little worse, but I'm not going to get into the minutia of it all. They just have a nice gradual build up and to this epic moment where the epic moment, the first epic moment inside of Citadelle des Morts is with the orb. Like, I don't feel like getting the swords or getting the incantations is epic at all.
That's I know you said we talked about the swords for a little bit. This actually does bring a good question.
We can.
So when you played Citadelle for the first time, did you find it weird how like where are the swords going to be? And they kind of were in like a spot that was not obvious at all. It was just like, oh, they're on these statues that don't like glow importance. Like when you play like a map like Origins, Dreisendrach, and by a lesser extent, the Final Reich, which is the best launch map in all of zombies. Like when you see those 4 elemental wonder weapons like sitting on like the little like bench or the table, you know, okay, that's where we need to get the 4 wonder weapons. But in Citadelle, it just kind of feels like, okay, like, oh, there's just a sword. There's no way to know like, oh, there's gonna be a sword there because the statues are just like so dull, and it's like, oh, there's no prompt to like hold X to give the stamp to the knight, and then the knight just kind of gives you the sword, and you're like, oh, what the fuck? Oh, okay, cool, sword.
So I kind of half agree with you there. I do think that there's not any spectacle to that. So I think about this in terms of like Dreisendrach. So you feed the dragons, right? And then there's that hole where the casket is, and then where you pick up the first bow. You know, nothing's really happening there. There's nothing there. But then you fill up the dragon heads and you see one light up, and then another light up, and then the third light up, and then the bow presents itself. So it's fine that the knights are unassuming, and it's fine that it doesn't even prompt you. I like that. What I don't like is that you hit, you know, interact on the knight, and then he just holds it, and it's just like a white outline. It's like, why not have it be glowing or radiating some like heat or something to show that these things are fucking powerful. And then go ahead.
Or at least like an indication, be like, all right, let's walk up to this knight. Why is he glowing? And then like when you hold X, it's like, oh, a sword. Cool.
Yeah, I do partially agree with that, but even if they didn't do that, when you actually get the swords themselves, like, I mean, I guess the fire sword like has the dragon breathing on it. The lightning one has a little bit of a lightning storm, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel. Yeah. It doesn't feel epic. I can't explain it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I fully agree. It's like it's kind of just like, oh, okay, we got the sword, but like when you play like Dreisendrach, or I guess like the Final Reich, it's like, and you're like, all right, we got to do this quest, and you feel like, all right, it's charging up, and then we got to bring it down to the batteries and the in the speed cola room, and you see like, all right, we're getting the new Tesla coil for it, and you get like the midnight upgrade. You're like, whoa. There's a sense of epicness to it. It's like it's great, but there's none of it's not really there in Citadelle, and I can't believe I agree on this. I'm surprised no one else has brought it up yet in the community.
Yeah, I feel like I feel shitty being negative about it because I do think this is a really great map. There's little things that I feel like are missing. And
oh yeah,
I mean, if you think, yeah, and if you think about Drak again, I'm just going to use that as an example. When you're upgrading the bows to each variant, you know, the souls are like pouring into it, and you can hear the sound effects that are like it's like it's like they're
yeah, it's great.
yeah, and then the light like shoots out of the chest and then it transforms, and
yeah,
it's awesome. And with this one, like, don't get me wrong, I think probably the best sword is the dark sword or the void sword.
Yes. The Raven sword's so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. And when you upgrade it and the pit opens up from beneath the floor, and you're like, holy shit! Like,
yeah,
the sword's
it's the only sword to go. It's the only sword to go for because it's like you feel. I mean, outside of the other swords, it's like this is the one sword you feel like those orbs going into the floor. Like, all right, what's gonna go on? And then you see the swords rise up from the void. It's like, whoa,
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, each of the swords, the light sword kind of glows. The lightning sword gets a little bit of lightning on it, and the fire sword gets a little bit of a dragon breathing on it, which, don't get me wrong, I still think it's nice and it looks cool. But the gameplay in Black Ops 6 is so fast that I don't like appreciate the shit happening around me because you're just trucking through the game. And it would be nice if you could like just take a second and look at this amazing, beautiful weapon. Yeah,
it's just yeah. It's like you have players like me where it's like, oh yeah, hold the zombie or whatever. It's like you're like like getting the Raven sword doing the orbs. Meanwhile, is that one poor soul that's like doing the what was it, grabbing the fire like orbs from the was it cauldrons, I believe, like for the fire sword. That step, like, you know, the cauldrons
yeah.
And, like, they're grabbing the fire sword, they turn into Chris Farley from Tommy Boy. Oh my god, I'm burned! And they're just like running to the fire sword.
Yeah, that step took me a while to realize that you can slide into zombies and get health back.
Oh, I never upgraded the fire sword, but I've always seen people like my friends just like run like as they're on fire, and I was like, funny.
It is funny. Yeah. I like the upgrades too, but
they're easy.
Yeah, they are pretty easy. And there's a couple of missed opportunities that Treyarch, you know, had with this map, and I do think it's missing a little bit of spectacle inside of the map, outside of the boss fight. And the other thing I think they missed out on was having a second upgrade for the swords. Like, I don't know why they didn't do that.
That's to be fair, I feel like the Drak sort of suffered this issue because like in Origins, like there was no base like staff. I mean, there was, but like it wasn't like in Drak in the Final Reich where it's like, all right, we have the Tesla gun or the regular what was it, the Wrath of the Ancients it was called, I believe.
Yeah.
There wasn't, I mean, we just had like the base sword, and it's like, all right, we got to go upgrade it. All right, but like I do agree, like I kind of wish there was a second upgrade for it, but given how this is just like the first upgrade, there's no other additional steps. I'm happy that that's the case because like, you know, then that just would have been more steps to artificially inflate, like, you know, the quest, or they probably could have done what they did Nation Evil, where you could just.
Yeah, that's all I'm talking about. It doesn't need to be for a quest requirement, just for fun.
Yeah, just to make it more powerful. But then again, maybe after this episode gets released, they'll probably just be like, oh yeah, the swords are getting a massive buff.
Yeah, I think the swords are almost in a good place. I'll try to put that tweet up I have that I made on screen here for the viewers, but the swords are almost perfect. They need to hit multiple enemies like out of the box without melee macchiato. They need to be able to hit multiple enemies. And the other thing is, I put up a clip of Shadows of Evil's sword right next to it, and the speeds of the swings are identical when you have the melee macchiato perk equipped with the faster swing, which is I thought it was going to be way faster than Shadows. It's probably like 5% faster.
He's exactly like you in every way.
It pretty
Except
much is.
Perk on top.
It's nearly identical. If you watch the clips, like you'll be surprised how how close they are. And when I saw that, I was like, dude, the fact that melee macchiatos, the base swing of these swords with melee macchiato is like just what it's like half of what Shadows was. It's like that's not what a perk's job is. And so to tie this back to what I was saying earlier, when a perk is supposed to bring you slightly over the baseline, well, melee macchiato doesn't do that. And so why do I have to use an augment to get me to where the perk should probably take me in the first place? So I think melee macchiato needs to be retooled in general, and the swords need to be at least at the level of Shadows of Evil.
Yeah. I mean, when Melee Macchiato first came out, like the perk, I mean, people didn't. It kind of took people a moment to realize that the perk was built for the melee weapon slot in mind. And now we're at a point where it's like, all right, like you said, now they got to buff like the sword speeds and like also just kind of slightly buff Melee Macchiato towards like they actually make the other augments viable because, oh my god, like that. Because first of all, I'm glad that Melee Macchiato has a purpose in this map because when it first came out, I was like, this perk is really frustrating, and now it's like, all right, it's so close to being perfect. It just needs, again, this perk and the swords, they just need a good buff.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that I think Treyarch is missing out on here is I don't think they're considering like, okay, well, if we have a weapon in a map, in any map, it doesn't matter which map. If we have an item in the game in a particular map and it has some sort of effect that an augment already does, they still need to keep that in the game because now that means I can use a different augment and have like two augments at the same time. Like that shit is cool. So why not make the sword swing faster so then I can just hit multiple enemies, and now I'm getting the best of both worlds because guess what? I'm using a wonder weapon. It's supposed to be magical. It's supposed to be magnificent and take us to a whole nother level of gameplay. It's not a gun. Yeah. It's not a regular melee weapon. So I don't know why they like tune things to fit every aspect of like an augment in a perk. It's like the wonder weapons are supposed to be able to protect you in all instances. And if again, I'll put the gameplay up on screen for you guys. I'm on round 76 with the Raven Sword, and I'm on round 35 or 34 or something in Shadows of Evil. And I can only kill like one of these speeding ass zombies coming at my face. Like I can only hit one at a time. And inside of Shadows of Evil, I'm just taking out hordes, taking out Margwas. It's like protecting me from getting hit. Like why can't there be some sort of balance here where we're able to take out multiple zombies at a time so that we can have a little bit more protection when we're running through this tight corridored map?
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. Like that, it's just, man, like I will say that I feel like Treyarch is probably aware of it and like they will eventually buff it. Cause again, like you remember when Cold War came out, the LT-53 Casimir, like when they added into the game, it was like, it appeared as a rare grenade drop, and it was just like it looked too identical to Semtex's and whatnot.
I think I do remember that. Yeah,
I remember tweeting this. I was like, "Hey, you guys should change the color from blue to purple to make it distinct." And I didn't think like they were going to listen because like you don't think the developers do. And Kevin Drew replied, he was just like, "Oh, well, we'll think about this." And then 2 days after my birthday, that change got implemented in. I was like, "Oh shit!" And one minor change will make such a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing about the swords that like about this whole argument I'm making that goes against what I'm talking about is the sword in Shadows was timed. So so the difference it would be is like, okay, well, if you have a sword that can take out a whole horde and has infinite swings, well, now you're just going to be in God mode. And so
not invincible.
So that's why I think it should maybe not necessarily be a whole horde like in Shadows where you can wipe out all of them at the same time. But maybe it's like, okay, you can do 3 or 4 because there's so many zombies in Black Ops 6 and they're coming at you from all angles. I still don't even think if it was tooled in the way Shadows was that you would be protected permanently because there's just so many zombies that can hit you at any angle. Like you're not protected with a shield or anything like that. So
I think there's like a total of like 50 something zombies that can spawn in on a play space at once versus like, what was it, 24 or 36?
Yeah, I think it was 24 or something like that.
Yeah, thanks. I think it was like due to MWZ. It was just like, yeah, we can have more zombies in the field now. Now it's just like insane chaos.
I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk we're definitely we're over time, but if you have a little bit more time, I have a couple more questions.
Yeah, I have more time.
All right. So the next thing I just want to talk about is like, do you think we're going? Oh, sorry. Spoiler warning. Just put a spoiler warning on the screen. If you haven't beat the Citadelle Daymore Easter egg, which I'm assuming most of you have, but I still want to be respectful. So spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. We're gonna be talking about the cutscene and all that good stuff. So after. We're talking about it now, guys. So after the boss fight ends and Kraft passes away and Richthofen's his son or his adopted son and all that stuff, they talk about the excavation site. That's the big thing. We're going to Origins. Yeah. We're going to Origins, everybody. I don't think we're going to Origins, but I do think that they're going to do some sort of tie-in to the excavation site, or maybe it's like, I don't know, taking us to a place that looks similar, or there's like tunnels that will lead us to there. I don't know. Maybe it'll teleport us to. They're going to do something with Origins. I don't know what it is, but what do you think? What's on your mind?
I doubt it's going to be Origins. If it was, like, the community would go crazy, but you have the people be like, oh, they're reusing assets again. I don't think it's going to be Origins. I think it's going to be an entirely original layout, where it's going to be a dig site, probably akin to the Archon or Shinonuma Reborn, or I guess like maybe a little bit of Origins, but it's probably going to be like some kind of dig site in Avalon. Well, obviously, but it's going to be like a very different layout where it's probably going to have a lot of like themes related to the Chaos story with the Sentinel artifact, and hopefully more enemies like that would come back from the Chaos story, like the Blight Fathers or the Cataclysm zombies. That would come into play, and hopefully some wonder weapons, like I guess are more fancy wonder weapons related to the like the swords or the specialist weapons from BO4, like Chaos. I think they're going to go in that direction. But as for the story, I'm not entirely sure what they're going to do, because given how how many days did Citadel take place after Terminus? I believe. What was it? 6 days or?
I'm not even sure. I haven't even looked.
Because given how Citadel was a few days after Terminus, which is still taking place in the year of 1991, I don't know if they're going to try and do the time jump to 1996, where that sort of leads up to MWZ, but I don't think they're going to have the DLC season to do it yet. They're probably going to have to resolve everything in 1991, and then whatever happens in the years following that, it's probably going to be a whole different story.
I'm not really sure, man. I do think that the reason they're teasing the excavation site is because they're going to give us a little bit of those member berries of Origins. I don't know if it's going to be, like a Maxis drone, or like maybe we'll see the statues of Primus or something in it. Like, I heard a theory, I think it was from Milo, I can't remember, but like the Primus statues, but it'll have our characters' faces on them. I don't know. I just think they're going to do something where they're just giving us a little bit of a hint, because didn't Origins take place in the 30s?
1918.
So I mean, that whole site will have changed, almost it's almost like 80 years, right? So
yeah,
I do think that it will change a bit, or 70 years. But I'm not exactly. I just don't know else why they would say it, unless they're trying to troll us, unless it's a big troll.
They probably, because the thing like this, like a DLC 2 is, I don't want to say another make or break, but that's also going to be a very big deal, because it's we're probably not going to see it for the next 3 months, because it's Season 3, I guess, doesn't come out until around late March or whatever. So it's they're probably going to make it a really big map. They're probably going to build it up, make the map polished and and have a really well designed layout, cater to zombies, so people don't use it's from Avalon, therefore it's going to be a reused map. That's no, because Treyarch pretty much proved us wrong, and clearly it's a layout for zombies. So it's probably going to be a layout for zombies, and there's probably going to be some very original ideas for it. I just hope this is the next map is the last map. We have the fantasy elements to it.
You do hope it's the last fantasy map?
I not when I say the last fantasy map, I hope it doesn't dive too much into the fantasy elements, because
oh man,
so I know
this is where you and I are gonna have a fight, aren't we? Fist fight.
Okay, because listen, I'm a sci-fi guy. I mean, I love the Final Reich, I love Cold War, I love Terminus, and again, I don't hate fantasy. I just don't like when it's too much fantasy, like Ancient Evil, because Ancient Evil went too far in the other direction, and I didn't like it.
Wow, bro. We're about to
Yeah.
fight. We're about to
Yeah.
fight.
I mean, hey, listen, if there's one thing we could both agree on, is that Stormbound's a terrible song.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of a lot of the zombie songs. I don't like the style of vocals that are on them. I don't like that. It's whatever. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. Sorry, that's just
No, it's okay.
Stormbound sucks.
I like what I like about zombies is when they do both. I don't like it when they pull into one area over the other. Like, I think Ancient Evil is very far off into the weeds. So like,
yeah.
Let's if we look at it in terms of like science versus magic, like I guess we could say like Alpha Omega is more sciencey than Ancient Evil.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with them each having their own place, but I think the perfect maps are when they come together, like Drak, because we get or Gorod. But I would say I think Drak's a good mix because we're in a castle, but we have like the Ragnaroks, which are like sciencey. We're in a lab. Like there's like the castle has like that lab in it and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you have the wonder spheres that are pushing you around. There's like a rocket, but then you also have these magical bows. And so I think that's the sweet spot. I think Zetsubo does a good job of that too.
Oh yeah, but I'm like, yeah, what were you like talking about exactly with the setting and stuff like before? I know like there was like other stuff we had to talk about.
We were just talking about like where we were going to go for Origins for DLC 2.
Yeah,
I was just getting your thoughts.
Oh yeah, because I know like there were supposed leaks that were supposed to be like, do you know anything about the leaks for like Black Ops 6 or the supposed leaks?
I mean, I'm not against hearing them. I just they change so rapidly. It's hard to keep up with them.
So supposedly, I heard that it's supposed to be like a mansion map, like that we probably like the mansion layout we saw from like the Liberty Falls intro. And
I think I heard something about that too.
I don't know. Again, this is all subject to change, but like I have no idea what they're going to be really doing with the story. Like I don't know what. Like I mean, again, I know like what they're going to be doing with the characters. I just have no idea what the hell will happen like in the events of the maps themselves. Because like keep in mind, we already have like Ravenov and like Peck and all these guys like with us, and I have no idea what they will do to like bring in whatever enemies. Because keep in mind, ever since Citadelle, it's like okay, they're going down the fun fantasy path, which I like. But I just know I'm just waiting for them to go balls to the walls, just like, all right, we're bringing back all these crazy enemies. So when people would be like, when multiplayer guys play zombies, you're like, what is this?
Yeah. Yeah. I just want them to have keep up with this trajectory of having very dialed in Easter egg quest, a lot of good side content, good boss fights, good wonder weapons. I think they're in a good place. I just think the main issue for me right now with this game is the Easter egg quests need to be a little bit longer because they don't have that many steps. It's just kind of getting the wonder weapon has been the main process inside of both Citadel and inside of actually in pretty much all the maps except for Liberty Falls. I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback. I did in my video. Liberty Falls has the most like the best structured Easter egg quest out of all the maps in my opinion. The way that it builds, like it's obviously so short. Like we're not talking about length here, but in terms of just okay, the jet gun has a balanced structure. You get a part, and then that part opens up a special location that gets you what you need, and then so you do that 3 times. So that's like 6 steps, and then you go from there to building that machine. I forget what it's called, the LTG, I think. And then you have 2 challenges associated with that, and then you're in the boss fight. But it has a nice escalation.
Yeah.
And Citadelle de Mor is just like all wonder weapon. And if you use the Wonder Bar Gobblegum for Terminus, well, you just skipped half the Easter egg there too. So I'm not a huge fan of this. And I know everybody's like, well, what do you want it to be like BO4 where you get the wonder weapon and there's still 30 steps after it? Well, personally, yes, that's exactly what I want. But I know that's not going to happen. So I would just like it to be a little bit more, like 15% more, just
reasonably stretched out.
Yeah.
Which I do agree with you on like Liberty Falls. That's actually like really funny. Because I haven't thought, I was like, oh, he's right.
Yeah, it's a really well organized Easter egg.
But I know you were going to talk about, but I will say with the story though, it's like I'm very glad it did mix in like some of the Vanguard elements. I'm just really like interested in seeing like what character arcs we'll solve, because we got like a character arc for Maya pretty much done. So I hope they do stuff for Weaver, Carver, and like Dr. Gray, because every map since BO3 has been doing that stuff, and I kind of hope they continue that trend, because it is really nice to have our characters a lot more fleshed out and stuff. Because oh boy, because if when Weaver and Richtofen they first meet, it's going to be very interesting to find out for the rest of their crew. Be like, oh, you killed Richtofen's wife and kids? Like, what the hell?
Yeah. No, I agree, man. I would love to see, Gray have her own map. Weaver should probably have the last map if that's when we're meeting Richtofen, or whenever that happens. That should obviously be his map. Yeah. But no, yeah, I completely agree.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Should we talk about the AI stuff? Because that's one of the biggest like talking points right now in the community.
Yeah, I was just basically I was going to ask, like, Treyarch is stating in an article recently that they're putting fun first by like keeping those crazy bundles in the store. And so my question basically is, what is your how do you feel, like, what's the sentiment surrounding keeping the crazy bundles? Should they only be purchasable? Should they be earnable? And where does this fit inside of the AI purchasing? And how do you feel about everything that's kind of come out surrounding all this?
So I guess like in terms of the bundles, I'm fine. The way the bundles are, I'm kind of fine with them. Like, because in Cold War, because I guess like the Cold War model, where it's like, all right, we have like a bundle to purchase all the battle pass skins that nobody could really get to, which I like. And it's like a lot of the bundles where it'd be like movie crossovers and like, that are really first off, if the movie crossover bundles are fitting to the game, I have no complaints with it whatsoever. That's all I will say. I like those type of bundles. They're goofy and they're optional. You don't need to buy them, but they're kind of nice to have. $20 was a little bit excessive, but I just given now we're in the 90s game, it just would be cool to see like, 90s like, like related movie bundle skins. But with the AI being in, I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. I don't have an issue with like, I don't hate like, AI generated art. Like it irks me. Like I'll be able to like, oh, it's AI generated, but like it's not as big of. Again, I know people, it takes away from jobs, but I don't think of it as crazy big of an issue that the community makes it out to be.
Yeah, I actually agree with you in a lot of ways. So let's talk about. Let me just put my take on the bundle thing, and then we'll dive into the AI.
Yeah, sure.
So as far as the bundles go, I have no issue with bundles being in the shop. But what I really do have an issue with is they need to make the earnable rewards in the game just as awesome as some of the paid bundles. So
that's true.
So when you're paying for something, if you're spending your money, I actually want to defend Activision here just a little bit. When I'm paying money, it better be fucking cool.
Yeah.
Because I'm paying money. So it needs to be great. But at the same time, you need to make the skin that I earn in for an Easter egg quest, you need to make at least that just as cool as some of the top tier paid stuff in the shop. But like I get why Activision's like, well, if we make it earnable, if we made that green dragon skin earnable, and then well, yeah, of course, no money. But what I'm saying is if they made that earnable and then somebody pays $20 for a skin that's not as cool as the earnable thing, well, people would be like, I just paid $20 for that. So I actually I see where Activision is going with this, but they need to kind of do both where it's like, you can pay money for some cool ass shit, but you can also earn some cool ass shit too. It's a little bit of both and.
Yeah. Like, I remember, like, you remember in Modern Warfare, like 2022 when they had like a bundle for, what Devin Booker or like, what was it? Like, there were like a lot of like crossovers that like didn't fit the game. And like, there's just like, why would I buy this? It's just
in Modern Warfare 2? Like the most recent
the new Modern Warfare 2.
I really didn't play that game, so I'm not really sure.
They had like really bad bundles. It's just like, I was like, that weren't even worth the $20. And if you spent it, it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, and like I always mention movie bundles. So it's like, let's real movie crossovers and like these type of games are really cool. And remember they had Rambo and John McClane in Cold War.
Yeah.
That was awesome. If like the only two bundles, it's like I hope they do like the really cool crossovers is Burt Gummer from the Tremors movies and Snake Plissken from Escape from LA. Like they fit with the game and like you could do some really cool stuff. But when you do like, crappy bundles where it's just like, oh, why would I spend like, money on an AI generated Santa with 6 fingers? It's like, there's just no creativity. There's so much creativity you could do with bundles, but just yeah.
So so the stuff about the movie crossovers, I swear I'm going to get into the AI stuff in just a minute, but the stuff with the movie crossovers, I don't care either way. I just like the game to be fun. So if that's going to be fun, then sure, I'm totally down with it. What was funny about the Rambo thing, and Jeremy, if you're watching this, when he would join like lobbies in my streams, and he would just be running around using the inspect animation where Rambo screams, and he would just be running around with the death machine going ah! And I was like, holy crap, this is so annoying, but it's pretty funny now that I think about it.
Oh god, Rambo's cool.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Back to the
AI. Okay, here's my 2 cents on the AI thing. So over the course of time, and we're going to have a little bit of a history lesson here. And honestly, guys in the chat, I'm not trying to come at this as pragmatic or anything. I just want to talk about like human evolution in terms of technology. So feel free to push back on us a little bit, or push back on me. I'm open to having my mind changed or thinking about this in a different perspective. I feel like my take is pretty reasonable, but maybe it's not. So let's have a conversation about it. Let's not have a screaming match. All right. So over the course of time, technology has presented itself that has disrupted the discourse of the economy or the work environment or whatever. So the first one of the bigger major ones that I'm not going to go through everything, but was like the printing press. That revolutionized the way humans interacted with the world, because now more people were going to have access to be able to read. A lot of people still didn't learn how to read for a long time, but they were actually able to get books. People were able to take them home and basically learn, just to learn. They could just learn. And that really changed things quite a bit. Then we had things like the assembly line or the car or whatever. Like there's always going to be something that comes into our society that is going to radically change everything. And I bet you that there were people when the car came around that would be like, well, why would I want to do that? It's much healthier. Well, maybe they wouldn't say healthier, but it's much better to get on my horse and buggy, or it's much better to walk or whatever. There's always going to be people that are going to say the new technology is bad. And it's happened with printing press, cars, assembly lines. It's happened with smartphones. It's happened with the internet. It's always going to happen. And the one thing I like to zero in, I'm almost done with my spiel, I promise. The one thing I like to zero in on is Photoshop and digital tools. So when in the advent of digital content creation, when it came to Photoshop specifically, I remember back in the day, people would always complain like, oh, well, as a photographer, like I have to learn how to use film. I have to have my dark room. I have to make sure the lighting is right. I have to pose my subject properly. But with Photoshop, you can just brush stuff on and it's totally synthetic and it's not real. And we actually saw a lot of the same complaints that we are seeing with AI. Now, when it comes to AI, do I think AI is bad? Kind of. I think it's bad in the sense that it can turn out slop like we're seeing inside of Call of Duty. But at the same time, I think it's actually pretty great, because it allows people to expedite the process of whatever it is they're creating. So if they have an idea and they want to just rapidly jot it down or get feedback from it, they can just put it into AI and they can spit something out, whether it's a video or an image or some dialogue, and then they can share it with the team and it can help really expedite the process. But the problem that I mainly have is when they utilize it and underbake it and then sell it for a profit to the consumers. And if that in turn pushes out people who could do a better job, then that's even more unethical. Like, why not just give, Betty or Bobby a job to make high quality AI art, and they can expedite like 10x the amount of art and make it super high quality and deliver it to fans. Like, I don't see why they don't do that.
It just comes off as like really cheap and obvious. Because there was that Santa bundle, people point out the fake fingers, and for the record, like it's very for right now, it's very easy to point out AI generated art, but like in like few years, it's gonna be impossible.
I know it's gonna be so hard.
And the main worry I have with AI personally is Terminator, really, where it's it's like the world's gonna kind of come to an end. like, you know, oh my god, they're taking over the nukes. Like, which again, I don't think that'll happen because, like, I hope not. But in terms of Call of Duty, it's like it just comes off as like so scummy when it just comes off. Like you said, it's half baked.
Yes, that's the main issue I have. Like there's been a few images that I've seen inside of the shop, and I'm like, this is just AI. And like I'm not adverse to AI, because what are the things people will say? Well, let me there's 2 points. So the first point is inside of the quality of the image, like you can see where like the bokeh effect or the blur effect, like if you guys look at the camera right now, you can see my hand is like out of focus, but the mic in my face is in focus, and then my background is out of focus because the lens has like a natural effect with the glass that creates what is called a depth of field. Now, AI doesn't know how to master this, so if you look at a lot of images, you'll see things will be in and out of focus that isn't natural to a normal lens or to what a normal human would draw or create, because we know what this looks like. The AI is still learning that. So, or 6 fingers or whatever. There's also another image in the shop where there's like a detective board with all these pins and red lines. I'll try to find it and put it on screen if I can. But some of the lines are like going through the image, and pins are in like the bottom of a photo, or they're like not even connecting to a photo, like just weird shit like that. And it's like, get it right if you're going to sell it to people. But
yeah,
but the main argument that I don't like is the argument of unoriginality. And people will commonly say, well, AI just pulls from everywhere, and then it creates an image or a video or an idea rather than a human coming up with it on their own. But the thing is, humans take in everything from their surroundings to come up with ideas all the time. And if we go back to Black Ops 3 or even Black Ops 2, and guys, I will put this video inside of the description. If I forget, please remind me. Glitching Queen made a whole video talking about all the inspiration Treyarch used to get from old movies from the 80s and stuff, and put it into their games. And now, is that copying? Because if that's not copying, and then when AI does it and that's copying, it's where is the line? We have to have some sort of standard.
Yeah, like actually, I'm gonna very perfect timing you mentioned this. So, does everyone, you know about the RCXD from called Black Ops 1, right? Everybody does, right?
Just the car thing.
Yeah, the explosive car. You know where that was based on? You know where Treyarch got that from? And I'm very certain they got this from like the movie I'm about to reference. They got it from Tremors 2 Aftershocks.
I don't doubt it.
And in that movie, it was just like, oh, we got to lure the underground worms. So they literally strapped an explosive like dynamite stick to a car. And as soon as like the worm like snatched it from the ground, they literally like grab it from a remote control and go boom, and then the car blows up and they kill the worm.
Yeah, I don't doubt it at all, because a lot of the dudes who used to work at Treyarch back in the day loved those 80s movies, and it's even so specific, guys, to the point where Treyarch used certain symbols from other movies and put them into Moon and whatnot. Like, I can't remember exactly. You guys should watch the Glitching Queen video. It's really good. But here's the thing. I have no issue with that. I'm not saying these guys are thieves or anything. I think it's really cool. Yeah. I like paying homages to other art. I like Easter eggs like that. I think that stuff is cool. I guess the main difference would be is AI isn't a human with an emotional connection. So really what we're arguing about here is the emotional component that comes with creating art that AI just can't do. Now, if we can program AI to have some sort of human emotional component, would it make it better? I don't know. I'm not here to say whether or not this is good or bad. I just think that if we're utilizing AI to replace people, why not just have them train to utilize the tool to expedite their job 10 times quicker so that they can output more content in this high quality, this high demand industry where we want a new DLC map and new content every other week because we chew it out and spit it out so quickly, chew it up and spit it out so quickly. Why not give people the tool of AI to expedite their job faster so they can send notes to teammates or send a rough draft image or whatever it is so that they can actually get into the real tools to build their content from the ground up. I don't know what the solution is, because it's coming whether we like it or not, boys.
Yeah. Again, the AI generated art stuff, I don't have an issue with. AI voices, on the other hand,
okay, yeah, let's get into this.
So I want to ask you. So you remember when you played Terminus for the first time? Did you find it weird how Dr. Peck had like a new voice actor?
I actually didn't notice at all.
So my friends like pointed out to me like, "Hey, Peck sounds very weird. Sounds like a different voice actor." And like that day, I was just like, maybe it could be the radio frequency." But when I went on my phone to like watch all the cutscenes, like I guess like it was like, oh, is it those Black Ops 6? Oh, cutscenes. They had the Terminus cutscene, and it was like from in game. And I'm not even kidding. Peck's voice actor was replaced in the new in the Black Ops 6 in game cutscene. Like,
yeah, I'm sure.
And I noticed that, and I was like, "Oh my god!" They actually replaced Zeke Alton's voice, and supposedly it was because of AI. But since it was only Peck's VA, nobody really paid any attention of it in mind because it wasn't like fan favorite character. But when Citadelle came out, I was playing with a couple of my friends. When map first came out, we immediately noticed the changes in in Samantha Maxis. We're like, "What?" We're like, "This is not Julie Nathanson. What the hell is going on?" And then the next day, when I was I beat the Citadel de Mori strike, I found out on Twitter that a lot of the voice actors are going on a strike, and that's when I was like, "Oh shit, this sucks."
Yeah. So I am not a fan of this at all. Like I think that Treyarch replacing the artist is a problem. Now, here's the thing. We don't know what these contracts are like, so we got to think about this a little bit removed from the situation, because perhaps Julie Nathanson or the other artists, if they decide to go on strike or whatever, maybe they're voiding their contract. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying maybe that's a clause in their contract, and if they got to hire new people moving forward, they need to replace the previous actors. I have no idea. So it doesn't make it ethical. I'm just saying, let's try to think about why they would do it. The other thing. Well, go ahead. Sounds like you have something to say.
So this is what I find suspicious, because Peck's voice actor, he dipped way before the launch. He likely dipped before BO6 came out, because he has his new voice actor. But then you have Julie Nathanson who gets replaced. Right as the launch of Citadel comes out, and they replace all the lines, and it's okay, why didn't they do that with Weaver, Carver, and Maya? I'm surprised that didn't happen yet, or maybe it might in the future, but who knows?
Well, they could be. Maybe they're in different unions or something, or maybe they're not in the same union. I have no idea.
I think it might be all, but it's just very suspicious that what two voices get replaced, but the main cast doesn't. It's very suspicious, if you ask me.
Well, what's suspicious about it?
It's kind of just it's not really suspicious, but it's just more so it's okay, I guess since they're a set crew, it's they have a lot of new lines to record for the Doppelgas main quest line, so it's they probably had to record a lot more lines and are probably higher paid and whatnot, but I don't know what the AI protections are. So it's very likely for the Samantha Maxis voice, it was just it's not, she doesn't have that many lines, it was probably quick and cheap to get it out of the way for a new voice.
Yeah, I don't know. The one thing that I really want to highlight here is just like I was saying earlier about new technology being integrated in our society. I think something that is happening right now is the fact that AI is kind of taking a stranglehold over the industry, from video to photo to audio, including for the voice actors. This stuff, these contracts, this is currently being developed now. So the way businesses are going to interact with AI, we're in the midst of the era developing. So when people are saying well, why aren't they protecting their artists, or why aren't they doing this, or why aren't they doing that? I think companies, and not just Activision, companies, we're talking about just the entire industry. I think people are starting to figure this out and integrate it, and law is developing, and contracts are changing or whatever. I think that stuff is we're going to start to see more of this happen. The main problem I have with Activision in this situation isn't the fact that they don't have all of their contracts laid out and organized, because this is going to take time. My issue is, why don't they create a temporary contract for these artists that says, hey, we're going to keep you on. We're not going to replace you with AI. But if for whatever reason, we can't book, we need to do a quick replacement of your voice. And I'm not saying this is ethical or not. I'm just giving an example here. Maybe they're going to create a minimum of we want you to have at least a 4-hour session if you're going to come record with us. So if we only need you for 30 minutes, we're just going to use AI and then cut you a check for like a fourth of whatever cost we would normally pay you. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I'm just saying, like, I don't even know why they just don't create some sort of preliminary contract to help get them through this in the meantime.
Yeah. And by the way, it should be pointed out for everybody, it's not just Activision that's going on, like, that's having this whole like AI strike. It's multiple other video game companies. That's like,
of course, yeah.
Because I just found this out like recently. I was like, oh, this is like, so thankfully this is not, well, okay, I really probably shouldn't say thankfully, but since this is like a global issue with like all these other game studios, including Activision, part of me has like hope that this will get resolved soon and like they'll give the voice actors their voices back.
Yeah, I hope so too. The thing is like there's going to be people out there that are going to be like, well, this is just capitalism and these companies have to do what they have to do to make a buck. And like, and honestly, guys, I understand that from a utilitarian perspective. Like if we're just talking about money and green line go up and money printer go burr and all the other stupid fucking memes, like if we're just going to talk about that, sure, fine. Like there's nothing technically wrong with what they're talking about. But the thing is, guys, is like when it comes to like artistic mediums, when it comes to developing these projects, when it comes to having a company, you should want to take care of your employees so we can all like work together to make cool shit. Like if the company that I work for, if they replaced me and they're like, you know what, we actually want to get rid of you because we're going to use an AI model that takes all of the information you've taught clients to help with their businesses, and we're just going to use this AI model and get rid of you, I would be really pissed.
Yeah.
But if they were like, listen, we really want you to start using AI with your job, and we think it can help you create faster, written programs for your clients. We think that it can get, you can make nicer like diagrams for your presentations. Then I would be totally cool with it. The thing with the voice acting is they need to create clauses where if they're going to use AI for, like, let's just use Julie Nathanson, for example, if they're going to use AI to give a couple lines here and there, they need to make sure that she has some sort of residual protection where she gets, 10, 20, 50%, whatever, like some exorbitant amount of cost because it's based off of her likeness. That's going to pay her, because think about reruns on television. That 70s show, Seinfeld, House, Grey's Anatomy, or whatever show is getting reruns. Scrubs, exactly. Like these actors are getting paid for their likeness on these reruns. They get residuals. So if they want to use AI, then there should be some, it should kind of, in my opinion, and again, I'm still learning about this, so my opinion may change. I think that if they created some sort of residual program where they're basing it off of the likeness, I bet you actors would not really care if it's for smaller things. But if it's for, if like Activision's like, well, we want to only hire you for 4 hours, or we need to hire you for 4 hours minimum to make it a worthwhile session, and anything below that, we're going to use AI. And then they only hire you for 3.5 hours intentionally to fuck you over. Well, that's just greedy. That's bad. They shouldn't do that. So
scummy.
Yeah, we need to figure out how to navigate this. And the thing is, guys, I think that's what's happening. And we're going to be seeing pushback from artists. We're going to see pushback from customers, and we're going to see pushback from the companies and lawyers. And we're all in this soup together. And so we just got to keep making our opinions and voices heard, but we got to like really look into this and be as educated on it as possible. We can't just say Activision bad because Activision bad, and voice actors good because voice actors good. We have to look at the nuance of the situation and try to figure it out.
Yeah, there's critical feedback, and and don't like just basically assume it. Oh yeah, company bad. You gotta go about it from an ethical point of view and be like, hey, don't do this, because keep in mind, like, these voice actors, they've been with us a long time. It would be really bad to hear like Julie Nathanson and Gene Farber get replaced despite the fact that they've voiced characters for damn near over a decade.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't want that. And I'm not going to say everybody at Activision's perfect. I'm sure they're not. But I bet you there are people there that don't want it either, but they're just trying to... This stuff is hard. Like, doing this stuff is hard. And I also don't think Treyarch... normally I'm pretty critical of the developers. I think they have a lot more say in things than we actually believe. But in this case, I don't think they have much say here. I think that Treyarch has their hands tied. I don't think Treyarch would want to compromise their artistic vision for zombies, especially with replacing artists that have been with the franchise for a long time. I don't think they would want to do that, especially Craig, who has had a deep relationship with the voice actors for many, many years. You see that Aether, that Dark Aether, or not Dark Aether, that Aether storyline video for BO4 when he's with the voice actors, they're all crying.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, I genuinely don't think Treyarch is at fault with this one. I think it's Activision trying to navigate this thing,
costs.
And I'm sure they're being greedy about it. I'm sure they are.
Yeah, some people say it could be a Microsoft thing, but like this feels just like, again, like, because like it does feel like an Activision like thing, like for the most part, because Microsoft is just like, while they own it, like they're not the one making decisions. Like, hey, you guys should replace your voice actors with AI. It is because only Activision would like do something like this. Like, and I for Microsoft to have a say in that would just be very like, wouldn't be surprising, but just be very strange.
AI, like the company that I work for, they like to use AI for like coming up with quick ideas and stuff like that. They love it. They like, my boss is constantly talking to AI all the time. He's always like, give me like 10 things to make like YouTube content about, or give me 10 business ideas that are common in the US. Like he uses it for crap like that all the time. Yeah. And then we'll make like it's coming. Like it's coming. Yeah. So rather than
it's going to hit us like the Will Smith slap in 2022.
Exactly. Like, yes, Chris, we are Chris Rock and AI is Will Smith, and and we need to embrace it, but that doesn't mean we need to be unethical with it, because despite the fact that like, companies need to be profitable and you need profit to pay your employees and stuff like that, and I agree with all that. People are what make the companies. People are what make this art. People are what make the McDonald's on the corner work. So it's like, we need people in these places. And I just don't understand why you would want to utilize a tool that would prevent having brilliant minds inside of your company. Now, if you have a lot of, positions that are just fluff that aren't going to do anything, maybe it's better to have some sort of tool that can do it, or I don't know, but it's complicated. I just think it's complicated.
Yeah. The AI stuff is a very like complicated subject, and that, like, outside of the whole voice actor thing, I don't have much else to say other than I hope the voice actors get like their protections like for the AI stuff. Cause like, listen, I love playing as Weaver. I love hearing Gene Farber's like good performance, like giving out like funny like one-liners for zombies.
Yeah, no,
like, I don't want to see it get replaced, because it's like I don't even do SAM trials anymore. It's how like weird it is.
Yeah, I want the protections to be in place as well, and I just hope that Activision actually thinks of it as like, how do we keep our talent, our people happy, and embrace this tool at the same time. And I think actors need to figure out a way to understand like, this tool is coming whether we like it or not, and they need to start thinking, how can I actually use it to my advantage? If I could get paid half of my wage that I normally charge and not even have to show up, that's like free money. So assuming that they're getting paid their normal salary and stuff like that, I know it's not just free money to give up what you would get paid for a full day if you didn't show up and got paid half of that. That's half of the money. I understand. I'm just saying, like, how can they utilize this stuff to their benefit so that if they pass on or they retire or whatever, they're still getting residuals because we can reuse their voice forever. I mean, we got to think of ways that we can actually use this tool to our benefit, not to actually harm other people. So
yeah, past that, I don't have much else to really say about the AI stuff. It just, we'll see how it goes from here, because like, we don't know what will develop, like further develop, and like, and I guess like updates from Activision or like any of the voice actors. We just got to wait and see.
Yep. Well, actually, we are at the end of the episode, my friend. I just want to quickly do the wrap-up questions in the lightning round. So we're going to get through these really quick, and then we'll be out of here. Guys, I just wanted to let you know, I wanted to make this episode a little bit longer. It went over longer than I even wanted for the longer episode, but I'm not going to be able to make anything until after Christmas. So wanted to give you guys some little longer content to enjoy. So Mr. L, my friend, are you ready for the wrap-up questions?
In the words of Joe Swanson, bring it on!
All right. All right. So the first question is, and these are just like quick answers, and then we'll have the lightning round, which is like rapid answers. So
All right,
for the first one is what zombies map do you dislike the most?
Oh, dislike the most. I'm gonna say it. Daron Fong and Terra Maledicta.
Okay, fair enough. Besides Treyarch, who do you think is the best zombies developer?
Sledgehammer.
Okay, good. Yeah, I actually agree with that. A lot of people say Infinity Ward because of IW Zombies, but I'm like, they're not even there anymore. Okay. Do you think that your favorite zombies developer, aside from Treyarch, in this case Sledgehammer, do you think they'll ever get a chance to make zombies?
I don't. That I have no idea on. They probably could, but given how they've had Treyarch like do Vanguard and Modern Warfare 3, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe if they have their own game where it's fully developed, maybe. But I'm not. I have no idea what Sledgehammer will do because they haven't had a clear vision since like World War II after Modern Warfare 3 and Vanguard.
Yeah. Okay. What is your craziest or hottest take about COD Zombies?
Oh, that's a craziest and hottest take. It has to be with the games, right? Like, or just like anything in general.
Anything in general, anything you want.
So I think like one of the craziest hot takes is like more so like I wish oh man, I gotta think about this one. This is actually like really like this is it's like I gotta think of like the right take because like I do have a couple, but like because like everyone has always heard map takes, but if there's one take I wish people could do in the community, I wish I could hear more like of the Dead Ops arcade tracks being used, and I guess like by default the BO6 tracks, but like I'm gonna say it, I think Ancient Evil is the most overrated map of all time.
Wow, dude.
I
hurt my feelings.
I mentioned it earlier. I think the map's fantasy element is too much for me. And people said it was the next Horizon track. I did not like the layout. I think the layout is boring. The hype was not there. Stormbound's a terrible song. And the Wonder Weapons, the Gauntlets, they don't feel strong. They don't feel strong to use versus the Void Bow, the Tesla guns, the Mark IIs. Like, the Gauntlets just don't have that, like, punch to them.
I actually don't disagree about the Gauntlets. I think they're really beautiful, and I like the effects that they have. And inside, like, obviously the Gauntlet of Charon is amazing, and that one's super overpowered. The layout of the map is quite strange. It's very different, which is part of the reason why I do like it, because it's almost like leveled and structured. It's like it kind of like tapers the word I'm looking for. Like tapers down. But in terms of like it being the next Horizon track, I don't even actually agree with that. I don't like this concept of. I think it's a fallacy. There's a thing called the word concept fallacy, where people will hear a word and the way it's associated in society, they'll misuse it, and it's a fallacious form of argumentation. I think it's actually the same thing with Horizon track and Ancient Evil. Just because something has 4 elemental weapons doesn't mean it's like the other thing. So whatever. I like Ancient Evil quite a bit, but I don't think it's the next Horizon track.
Like it's just one of those maps that like so many people hype up. And I remember, and people are gonna hate me. The Hate Your Mark step, when people were like, "This is one of the best steps ever I played," I was like, "Really? Like the step was mid."
I actually agree with that too. I think the step it's because of the song. People really like the song, and now I think the step is interesting, and I think that again, Ancient Evil has I think Ancient Evil has one of the best quests of all time, but that's not, if we're isolating it by steps, like, I don't think that's a great step necessarily. I think the reason Ancient Evil is so good is because it takes you on this journey to fight Perseus. And so you're interacting with the Oracle. She's tricking you into helping her, and you're going through all these steps that pair with each of the gauntlets. And when you get up to the hit your marks, it's just utilizing the stage that is presented there. And it gives you a little bit of room to breathe before you go into the other phase. To the last step, using the crossbow to go into the boss fight. So in terms of that, like, you have to have Easter egg steps in between the main steps that give you a little bit of space. And so I think it does an excellent job of doing that, similar to the Void Bow in Citadelle des Morts, where you're kind of just walking around casually, taking a zombie from from hole to hole while those like electrical orbs are falling through the floor. Like that's a nice step to just like take a second and just chill. Like it's okay to just chill.
Yeah, and I get that, but just like again, it also comes from like when people, personally with me, but if you hype up something a lot, and it's like, it's like the if you hype it up to be like the next like big thing, and I'm like, oh, that's it. Like with the whatchamacallit, the Raven Sword, I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh, this is nice, but it's not like the best Easter egg step ever. I was just like, oh. That's why Ancient Evil, again, it's not the worst map ever. I'm not one of those people that be like, it's an F tier map. It's just C tier. It's like, it's I'll play it. I'm not going to not say no to it. I'm just like, I'm not going to go out of my way to play it, though. It's just okay.
Wow. Definitely hurt me in my heart a little bit on that one, but you know, it's okay. We move on, we put Band-Aids on, and we go forward. So
or as my brother would once say, it's okay. Everyone's wrong once in a while.
That's true. I agree with your brother there. You are definitely wrong. No, I'm just kidding. So what I cannot read. Do you have any other YouTube channels, or do you cover any other games or anything on content that you want to shout out?
Nope. Like I just cover like COD Zombies.
Okay. And okay, now we're entering the lightning round. These are just quick questions. Actually, funny enough, one of them was what was the most overrated zombies map of all time. So we'll do the inverse. What is the most underrated zombies map of all time?
Okay, the most underrated. This is I would have said initially Shangri-La, but I'm going to say it, the Darkest Shore from World War II Zombies.
Bro, you have some weird takes that I 100% agree with, actually.
Because I would have said the Final Reich, but the Final Reich is like John Carpenter's A Thing. It's like a near perfect experience. But the Darkest Shore, I have seen people slander that map and say it's one of the worst maps ever. But when I play it, it's just Shangri-La, but on World War II with all the mine carts and stuff. And like the map is great. Good enemy types. It's horrifying, and I don't understand why people say it's like the worst map of all time. The map is freaking fun.
I think the reason why people say that is because the Easter egg quest is kind of I don't actually want to say it's tedious, but it actually is kind of hard. It
is difficult as hell.
It's kind of tedious to learn, but once you master it and you know where all the rock locations are, and you know like it's actually a pretty good quest. I think it's pretty good. In the boss fight, I think is where people get really annoyed because they're like, oh, it's just like a rush mode or whatever. But it's like, it plays pretty well for that particular map. And it's pretty fucking hard if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. And from a gameplay stance, the Darkest Shore is just really fun to do. And like, I just love going around there killing zombies. The Delisle, the classic, which is the OG PPSH for those that are unaware. I just love killing the undead on like World War II, and the Darkest Shore is just like a fun little middle ground that's just like, you know, it's tight quarters, and it's just fun.
Sure. Okay, we have a few more questions here. So, perk limit or no perk limit?
No perk limit.
You're the first person to ever say that on here. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Shield versus armor. What would you rather have?
Armor.
Again. First person who has ever said that on this show.
Yeah. Shield got way too repetitive after Black Ops 4.
Double tap or rarity system?
Rarity system, but double tap 1.0 is like a reasonable balance. 2.0 can get the hell out of here.
I don't understand. Like, well, never mind. I want to open up that can of worms. What perk would you like to see inside of BO6? And this could be either new or reused, like a old perk.
Let me like perk. Let me just like look at the perk list for BO4 just for references, just because. Okay. The one perk. This is kind of tricky though, because like in Black Ops 4, like I would have said Zombshell, but like I mean Voltrade's kind of like in the game sort of. I'm gonna sound kind of like weird when I say this, but like I guess maybe like Death Perception, or I guess like double tap 1.0.
I would like to see some form of like Winter's Wail or
that would be good.
Widow's Wine or something like that. I think that would be cool.
I guess like I think Winter's Wail would be like I guess Winter's Wail would be my final answer, because like I kind of forgot about that one perk, but like given on this, I'd actually make high rounds a little bit more interesting. But if it's balanced enough to where it's not too overbearing, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I agree.
It would also give us a perk color that's not red or yellow. because we do
That's
need
true.
some blues in there. And
We do.
Mule Kick's like too many greens, a nice little blue, perfect balance, I'd argue.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. What's your favorite consumable system? So this could be gums from BO3, it could be Fate and Fortune cards, it could be the things from the consumables from World War II, BO6,
Ooh.
elixirs. What's your favorite?
The Black Ops 6 Gobblegums like system.
Really?
Yeah. I mean the consumable system from World War II, like there are some good consumables, but most of them were just really bad.
Yeah,
Black
they
Ops
were
3
just like
Gobblegums,
drops.
like I'm gonna say this right now, like I get where like we're dealing with inflation, but I don't want to spend 1,000,000 points on my third Gobblegum on round 70. That's ridiculous.
Sure,
And the
sure, sure.
elixirs, I'm gonna say I don't like how they take up an entire D-pad slot for like every single selection. And the classic elixirs, they have such a slow cooldown timer, and it's terrible. But with the Gobblegums in this game for Black Ops 6, it's like you can, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like you can select, like you hold up the 3 Gobblegums, and it's like a very easy user interface to activate them, even though some of them are not convenient, like like if you want to like, activate anywhere but here, it's like, oh, you have to do a couple buttons and it's not instant. But it's just easy because it's like, all right, if I want to pop a double points, a temporal gift, and a profit sharing, I can do that, and it's a very quick way to get some cash with your teammates and buddies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All
Very
right,
good system.
fair enough. If you could eliminate one era from Call of Duty Zombies, what would it be? Zelensky's era, Blundell's era, or Kevin Drew's era?
Oh shit. Like, because I really like one era couldn't exist without the other, but like, part of me wants to say like, because again, if you say like, oh, get rid of this Zelensky era, wouldn't have given us the Blundell era, but like, I will say, I think the Blundell era did a lot of damage to like to the casual player base. That like, even though Kevin Drew did give it to us back, it was like the Blundell era was so damaging to like a lot of the community. It's what pushed a lot of casuals away.
I actually don't understand this argument anymore. We'll save that for another podcast. But the whole casual thing with Blundell, like I just don't get it, because some of his like pack-a-punch systems and just how to open up and access the map is some of the easiest game design and of all time.
Detsubo, like it was really just like for casual players, it was just
one map. Horizon Drac is one of the best zombies maps of all time. You just press square. Ancient Evil, you pick up a golden bridle and fly a horse. Blood of the Dead, you zap your shield. Classified might be a little bit hard. Flipping the DEFCON switches, that might be a little bit hard, but you're from it's reminiscent of 5. What else?
It's really more so his main quests that I had.
But casuals aren't
within Black Ops.
But casuals aren't doing quests, right? So it's like, why do we need to cater a thing to a group of people that aren't doing it? I don't know.
It's a really difficult question, because it's like,
I agree.
One side can't exist without the other. And again, Kevin Drew's era was like, I kind of look at it as like I don't want to say the Dark Knight era, because that sounds a little bit pretentious, but it's like the Batman Begins, where it's like, it took everything what made zombies good, and it's like we're kind of getting like the best of both worlds. Like we're getting Vulture Raid back. I just think with Blundell, like strictly with Black Ops 4, and again, I love BO4, but like given how such a sharp change of adjustments for zombies, it was just like so weird. And I also just didn't like some of his fantasy approaches with like some of its story and gameplay wise. I was like, eh.
Well, I mean, aesthetically, I can understand that, but as far as like the casual thing, I just don't. I've been really thinking about this a lot because it comes up all the time. Like Cold War and BO6 are for the casual, but I think like Horizon Drac, Revelations, Origins, some of these Mob of the Dead, some of these maps that are notorious for being the most popular, amazing maps of all time. Like Mob of the Dead, you have to freaking build a plane to get to Pack-a-Punch. That's like not hard. Buried's Pack-a-Punch, I don't even remember how to do it. Like you have to go through this fucking house, and there's all these witches, and then you have like to go down all the way to this gazebo, and you have to get fucking this dude to like destroy barriers. Like that's complicated.
Yeah, part of me is also just a little bit resentful, because like I don't say resentful, it's a little bit of a mean word. I just feel like with the Blundell era, like even though like it did give us like the Cold War and whatnot, like there were just some parts of it that I just wasn't really like a fan of, and like some of the first parts of BO3, like like Shadows of Evil's implementation was a little bit flawed. but like I said, with the horrendous launch and whatnot, and like sometimes I do not like ciphers. I don't like ciphers and how Blundell handled it. It was just it catered too much to like the online crowd, and it was just like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with catering to different elements of the fan base. Like I think BO4 is a good example of catering to multiple aspects of a fan base. Like you get a casual map like Classified, and it even has an Easter egg quest for high round players. Blood of the Dead has like a crazy quest, but it's also catering to nostalgic. Like I actually think that game catered to a lot of different fan bases, and it doesn't really get the credit that it deserves. But
because of that game's horrendous launch and what followed that, Black Ops 4 was like really like the one child that like you feel it's like that, like it had like so much, like, it should have been perfect, but like everything went wrong for it. You're like, oh, this sucks, man.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
You deserve so much better.
Everything went wrong externally for that game.
Yeah. Again, I love zombies, but that's just like, oh my god, it's like we have to acknowledge it. It's just so sad.
No, it is. It is. All right, just 2 quick questions left. Who would win in a boxing match, Kevin Drew or Craig Houston?
Kevin Drew.
Should open world zombies come back?
Oh, geez. Oh, God. Oh, dear. This is... Oh, good Lord. I'm a fan of Outbreak. I like MWZ, but it needs to exist alongside, I guess, like, an off-year round-based game, because... And also, if it's on its own, it needs to have consistent live service content, because as you saw with MWZ, it needed a lot of support, and the fact that it barely got any content drops was a disaster.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And like, oh god, like, because I love Outbreak and I like the open world element ideas of zombies, but like every time it's been brought in, and even Outbreak was flawed, and people try to say no, it wasn't flawed. No, it was. It needs consistent updates, like weekly consistent updates. Like, okay, here are some weekly events. It needs these updates so people can keep playing like open world zombies. If it doesn't, it's gonna be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's god. Because looking back to MWC, I don't know how I made videos for that, because it was just like, after like the Unstable Rift, I was just like fed up. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, we did it. I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you for your time.
No problem.
I just wanted to say to everybody out there, I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. I won't probably get any videos out for the foreseeable future until after the holidays, because I'll be going out of town. So hopefully this extra long podcast can make up for some of that. And Mr. L, do you want to shout out your channel one more time?
Yeah, I hope if you guys are looking for really cool weapon reviews and like someone to take up the mantle of Raging Amish, I'm here. Check me out. Go subscribe. Watch my videos. I think you'll really, really appreciate them.
Awesome. And also give him a follow on Twitter. He always comes out with some spicy takes. And just like I said, appreciate your time. And for those of you watching, have a good rest of your day. And I'll see you guys in the next video.